Hey yo, welcome back to the Best Day Ever podcast. It's your boy, Mr. TRUSAV. So, as promised, we're going to get right into it. It's the adventures of Black Ass Mike. I can't wait. I've been waiting to tell you guys these stories for at least a week. So, we're just going to jump into it. Let me stop lying. I'm lying already. It's 20 seconds in. So, back in the Tru Sav summer of 2000, some of the savages that I hung out with didn't like this particular guy. For the purposes of the story, we will call him Ricardo Montalban. So they didn't like young Ricardo. It was Goku Super Saiyan Rivers and his brother. They didn't like Ricardo Montalban because they had a 14-year-old sister who he tried to sleep with. At the time, I think dude was probably 17, 18. So they devised a plan where they called these other two girls that Mr. Montalban knew and told them to meet them at a Jack in the Box down the street from the apartment complex we used to kick it at. So they call him, tell him, yeah, what's up? We're trying to meet up. Whoop. Meet us at the Jack in the Box. So we wait like 15, 20 minutes. Now there was probably 10 of us, 11 of us. Now I had no idea what was going on. I didn't take any part in any of this. I was just there to laugh and to put this in the history books. So we get in everyone gets in the car. We're 3 deep. We're riding down the street. Everyone's laughing, having a good time. Haha, funny time. So we pull up to the Jack in the Box. So everybody pulls up. Everybody hops out. I got the camera. We run into the Jack in the Box, and there's no one there. So all the people in the Jack in the Box are like, what the fuck? Like, 12 people just ran in here. So we're like, okay, we're at the wrong one because there's two on the street. What's the street? The street's Laguna Boulevard. There was 2 Jack in the Boxes on the same street, but they were maybe 2-3 miles apart from each other. So they called the girls. They're like, yeah, we just called them. They're going to go meet us right now. So we hop back in the whip. Bam. We're driving down the street, having a good time, laughing it up. So we get to the intersection that the Jack in the Box is at. So we're at the light waiting to turn left. And we look across the intersection and we see dude in a car. So they decide they're going to get out and run through the middle of traffic to surround the car. And this is broad daylight. This is 1-2 o'clock in the afternoon in the summertime. So there's 10 kids running through an intersection and surrounding a car. They're shaking the car, beating on the windows. Get out. Come take this ass whooping, whoop-de-whoop. So I turn left and make a U-turn and park in the gas station parking lot. So the car that they were, I think there was maybe 3 people in the car with him. They pull over into the same gas station. So one of the guys in the car gets out and tells him, like, get out, like, you got to fight these fools. So dude doesn't get out the car. So they take off. So me being the savage I am, I decided to chase him. Now it's just me. And there's 3 other people in their car. So we're going down the streets. It's like Mission Impossible. We're dodging through traffic. We're driving on the wrong side of the road. We're going through parking lots. All types of nonsense. So finally, he runs a light, gets on the freeway, and bounces out. So we rally back. We go back to the house. And all of this happens. Actually, you know what? That's not how it started, now that I think about it. So that happened, but the day before, actually, you know what? It was Mother's Day. It was the day after Mother's Day, because the day before, me and 3 of the other savages were driving around, just minding our business, and we saw Ricardo Montalban. We saw him and another guy at the movies, and when they saw us, they ran. So I don't know. So as soon as they ran, we chased them. And that's what led to the next day, because Goku Super Saiyan Rivers told us he had tried to sleep with his sister, and that's why he ran. So the next day, that's what happened. Okay, see? We're working things out here. So this happened. We go back to the house. Now, mind you, I have no idea who any of these people are. I was just there. So time goes by. 2, maybe 3 years goes by. And I end up meeting Black Ass Mike. He was friends with Nelly. So Nelly brings me to my house, and he tells me who he is, and I was like, hey, like, I'm going to be straight up with you. Like, 2 or 3 years ago, you remember around Mother's Day, and I broke it down, and I was like, that was me that was chasing you. I was like, just so that we're out in the open, like, I don't want this to come back and somebody say, he's like, nah, it's cool. That happened. Nothing really happened, blah, blah, blah. So I was like, all right. And we became pretty good friends. Like, I went to his house. He went to my house. I know his parents. Now, some of these stories I'm going to tell about him, they're wild. But I like Black Ass Mike. He was a cool dude. Like, he was really smart. He got accepted to Stanford. He had scored like 1440 on the SAT, but chose not to go for whatever reason. Like, that's neither here nor there. I actually went to high school with the mother of his child. Unbeknownst to me, it's neither here nor there. But he was a solid dude. His parents came from a 2-parent household. Both his parents were in the service. His grandfather and grandmother still alive. I mean, he was a solid dude. He just was out of his element. He was trying to be something that he wasn't. Where I recognized that I was a square and I was a nerd and I just did that, he tried to be hood, and that it just didn't work out for him by any stretch of the imagination. Now, when I first started hanging out with him, I noticed something really weird. Anytime I would go somewhere with him and he would introduce me as his friend, people would kind of look at me sideways, and they would kind of have slick stuff to say to me, and I was like, look, I'm not him. Like, whatever you got going on with him, that's not me. So there's no need to try to talk slick to me or any type of shit like that. Like, that's not what's going on right now. So he's best described as having an alligator mouth and a hummingbird ass. So he could talk a good one, but he couldn't fight to save his life. He couldn't fight his way out of a paper bag. But that became evident the first time one of Nelly's cousins was at the house. No, what was it? We were playing PlayStation 2. We were playing Madden, whatever year it was, and he's going off. You're a B, you're a this, oh, suck my wooty whoop, and I'm a that. So we go outside. We're in the garage. It's me, Nelly, and his cousin. And his cousin says, yo, Tru Sav, is that your friend? I was like, I mean, that's Nelly's friend. I mean, he's cool, but I mean, I'm not going to vouch for him. He was like, all right. So if I slap him, are you going to do anything? I was like, nah. He's a man. He can stand on his own 2 feet. He was like, all right, bet. So we finished smoking. He comes back in the house. And as soon as Black Ass Mike opened his mouth, his cousin got in his face and was like, you say one more motherfucking word, I'm going to slap the shit out of you. And so we all froze because we were like, well, what's going to happen? So he didn't do nothing, and that kind of became the tone of not only their relationship, but a lot of relationships he had with other people. On a separate occasion, all 4 of us were in the car, and he told Mike, now, what was it? I'm driving, Serge's cousin's in the front, Black Ass is in the back, Nelly's in the back. Mike got to run in his mouth again, and Serge's cousin told me, he's like, if you say one more word, the whole car trip, I'm going to slap you. Now, we dropped his cousin off. The whole ride to take him home, he didn't say a word. It was a 20, 30-minute ride. And so we pulled him to his house, like, all right then, Cuddy, like, I'll see you later. And he just kind of got out, didn't say nothing. So it was like, ooh, good Lord. Another story that comes to mind. One day we had gone to the California State Fair, and he had met this girl. Well, Ricardo Montalban, of all people, who we started hanging out with later. That's a whole other story. Stay tuned for that episode. That's going to be a good one. Ricardo Montalban. He he had met this girl, and the girl needed a ride home, and the girl lived maybe 40 minutes from where we lived at. So Black Ass Mike told her, yeah, like, I'll give you a ride, just shoot me some gas money. So it's me, Black Ass Mike, and the girl. So we drive all the way out here. The whole time, Black Ass Mike and the girl are going back and forth trading snide remarks. So we finally get to a gas station. So we get to the gas station. I'm in the front. It's a 2-seater. So I get out. I let her get out. And instead of walking towards the pump, she walks over to the driver's side of the car and proceeds to cuss him out like I've never heard someone be cussed out before. And basically tells him, I'm 3 blocks away from my house. I'm not giving you any money. Kiss my ass. So Black Ass goes into a rage, and he hops out and tries to snatch her purse. Now, the part of town we're in is predominantly white. So it's 2 black guys, one of which is trying to wrestle a purse away from this Caucasian girl. So I'm just trying to hide in the car, like, please, Lord, don't let anybody see us. I don't want to go to jail. This is too much. Now, they're struggling for the purse. If I would have to describe, well, in a little context, Black Ass Mike is built like Squidward from SpongeBob. So he was maybe 5'11", but probably 140 pounds, 130 maybe. So he's wrestling with this girl who's probably 5'6", 5'7", and she's probably 120. So they're wrestling, and a guy comes out of the gas station. He's like, hey, stop that. So what are you doing? And in that moment, Mike looks towards him, and that's all she needed. She hip tosses him, throws him to the ground, and he's kind of stunned, and she runs off. So the guy went from, hey, do you need help, to, oh, and just walks back in the gas station. So Black Ass gets in the car with me, and again, it's dead silent. Because, I mean, what do you say after that? I just watched you get hip tossed by this girl. So it was, little did I know, this was a pattern that would be repeated throughout our relationship. Another funny one that I can think of at my house was when he got choked out by by a girl. It actually was my ex-wife. I know. Well, another day. They were in the living room wrestling. Now, she was big. She was probably about 5'10", 140, 150. So she already had him in weight. And it was playful at first. It was just, let's wrestle, whoop, whoop, whoop. Until she got him in a rear naked choke and made him tap out. And so I'm telling you this to kind of explain what kind of person and what kind of physical prowess he did not possess. So you have someone who's built like Squidward talking about beating people up and so on and so forth, and it never happened. He was a habitual line crosser, is the best way we could describe him. Probably my favorite story, one of my favorite Black Ass Mike stories, was one of the times one of his cousins came to my house. Now, his cousin was big. He was probably 6'3", about 250, 260. And they both just womp, 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 run their mouth. And we finally got tired of it. And we're like, look, you guys just got to fight. Like, we're tired of hearing you guys talk shit to each other. And I'm going to slap this person. So y'all got to go outside. So the basic ground rules of any fight at my house was you got to come from the shoulders. Meaning it's only punches. There's no kicking. There's no wrestling. There's no grabbing. There's no none of that. If you want to fight, you got to throw hands. And if you can't fight, you just can't fight. So we take them outside. I'm trying to coach Black Ass Mike up. Nelly's trying to coach his cousin up because we want to see a fight. So they go into the backyard, and I kid you not, this looked like 2 second graders fighting over who was first in line. There was the windmills, and there was the grabbing and falling on the ground and throwing haymakers that didn't connect. I tell you what, they could have fought for an hour and nobody would have got hurt. It was the most embarrassing thing you've ever seen in your life. And to the point of where we finally just stopped it. And we're like, look, we don't want to see this. We don't want to hear y'all talk about whooping nobody ass, nothing like that. So just take this shit show inside. So now mind you, this is all in the summer. This is all within the first maybe 3 months of me meeting him. So this kind of set the tone. Now, at the time, I didn't know who the mother of his child was. I didn't know that I knew her. And when he finally started telling me stories about her, one of the stories that he told me, because I was like, well, how did you meet her? Like, so on and so forth. And he told me that her parents were well-to-do, whatever. She came from an upper middle-class family. And she had a trust fund. And in the trust fund was $100,000 that she got when she turned 18. Yes, you heard me right. $100,000. Now, this is in 2001. So back then, 100,000 was closer to $250,000. Now, he begins to regale me with tales of he bought a brand new Lincoln Continental, and they were going out and doing all this type of stuff. And then he got to the part where they were buying an illicit substance. We'll call it. If you were alive in 2000, you know what was going on. But they were buying boats of these. And so in my mind, I was thinking, well, how did you spend 100? I mean, the Continental, probably 40, 50,000, and they bought it. Did they bought it? They bought it outright. So they had the car. They were going on trips, spending all this money, doing all these drugs with each other. Long story short, they blew $100,000 in the summer. So I guess the old saying, sure, you can blow any kind of money with a drug habit. So now she's pregnant. So now they have no money. They have nowhere to stay. And she's pregnant. So this is where it got kind of dicey. So now they're living with her mother. And he's doing whatever, not contributing, so on and so forth. So their relationship ended up dissolving. Hey, it happens. People grow apart. Now, after this was when I met him. So his daughter was probably 4 or 5 when we had met. Now, this is when the worst day ever happened. If I'm the best day ever, for him, this had to be the worst day. It was not even the worst day. It was the worst weekend, we'll say. Now, we've been friends for a while at this point. Maybe almost a year. It was, at this point, Nelly had gone to the Army. He went to basic training, so he was gone for about 3 months. So it was just me and Black Ass. So we actually grew a relationship, and I learned how to deal with his mouth and whatever. So, I mean, like I said, he's not a bad guy. He just makes you want to choke him. So time goes by, Nelly comes back, and the 3 of us are at the house. And at this point, Black Ass had got a job at a, HVAC, heating, ventilation, air conditioning place in North Sacramento. And he also had a motorcycle. Now, the motorcycle that he bought from Nelly's cousin. And Nelly's cousin is not the kind of person to be trifled with. And he was on a payment plan, $350 every month. He got the bike, so on and so forth. So this week happened to be one of our better weeks, and we had met a couple girls, and they were at the house all week. Now, he was the only one with legitimate employment at this time. Me and my ex-wife was sending me money. Nelly still had money from the Army, so we didn't really have to work. We were just kind of hanging out. So there's girls there. So Monday rolls by. He decides he's not going to go to work. He wants to hang out and see what's up with these girls. And we were kind of like, okay, you missed a day of work. Now, the important part of this is he was still on probation at this job. And this was the last week before his probation was up. So we figured you must know what you're doing if you're here at the house kicking it or whatnot. So whatever. So Tuesday goes by, Wednesday goes by, Thursday goes by. He hasn't been to work 4 days in a row. He called out every day. So here's Friday. Friday morning comes. He's at the house. He's telling me, okay, I'm about to go to work, pick up my check. We're going to do this and this and this and this. Now, mind you, the whole 4 days that went by, he didn't sleep with any of these women that were there. He didn't sleep with them. He didn't talk to them. He just wanted to be in the presence of whatever was going on. Which is fine, whatever. I'm not here to judge. So Friday comes, and Nellie's girlfriend at the time had come by my house because she went to school down the street. So she came by, she's kicking it. It's me, her, and Black Ass Mike. It was kind of raining, a little drizzle, nothing too much. So he leaves to go to work. Me and her sitting there, we're kicking it. All of a sudden I get a phone call, and it's Black Ass. I'm like, hey, what's up? Oh, can you guys come pick me up? I'm in the north, whoop. I'm on, what was he on? Grand and... I can't remember. But he was across the street from Grant High School. If you're from Sacramento, you know where that is. So we're like, okay, but didn't you, man, just come right now. So, all right. So we go out there. We pull up on him, and he's standing in front of a liquor store with a motorcycle helmet with no motorcycle. So we're like, yo, what happened? Like, well, I don't understand. Like, what happened? Oh... So he told two different versions of the story. The first one, he said he was riding on his bike. Now, mind you, Black Ass Mike was one of the best motorcycle riders I've ever seen in my life. All that stuff you see in the videos on YouTube and all the other stuff he does. Standing up on the bike, doing wheelies, laying on his back on the bike. Like, he does all of that. And it was amazing. So... he was doing, according to him, he was doing 100 on the freeway. And it wasn't raining, but it was still wet to where it wasn't really safe to be doing 100 on the freeway. It's never really safe to do 100, but I digress. So he says the CHP pulls him over for doing 100. And so my first thing was like, well, why didn't you run? Like, you're on a motorcycle, you know how to run. Like, just get out of there. Oh, well... he said he was at a light, and she came up and, like, grabbed the keys, and some. We didn't really get the story. So I just kind of left it alone. So we take him to his job. He gets his paycheck, and we go back to the house. So when we get to the house, I keep asking him, like, man, I'm not saying you're lying, but I don't really understand what happened. Can you break it down for me just one last time? So this is when he tells the truth. And he says he was going down the freeway. He's doing 100. He gets off of the freeway, and he's not paying attention. The lady was in she was in a CHP Cruiser. She gets out of the car, walks up on him, and grabs the keys and turns the bike off, and is holding the handlebar and the keys so he can't go anywhere. And she's screaming at him, like, get off the bike, like, don't try to run. So now they're stopped in traffic when this happens. So he gets off the bike. She's asking, like, why were you doing 100 on the thing? Like, that's not safe. Yada, yada, yada. Like, what's your name? So he gives her his cousin's name. Now, Mike don't have no warrants. He's not on probation. He's never been arrested. So why he decided to give her a fake name is beyond me. So she was like, okay, I'm just going to pat you down. You're not under arrest. I'm just going to pat you down to make sure you don't have any weapons. So she pats him down and finds his wallet. When she finds his wallet, she sees his real ID. So now she grabs him and throws him on the ground, cuffs him, throws him in the back of the car, and they go from there. So she calls the tow truck. Now he's still in the back of the car at this point. Calls the tow truck. They get the bike out of the middle of the street. So she runs his name and sees that he doesn't have any warrants, doesn't have any arrests or anything. And she asks her, she's like, well, why did you give me a fake name? He's like, oh, I thought I would be in trouble, so on and so forth. She said, the entire reason why I slammed you on the ground was because when people get fake names, they're usually on the run or something like what. That was dumb. Like you almost put yourself in a really bad situation. So she gives him two choices. She says you can either A, keep the bike and go to jail, probably for the false name and the driving 100, which means your license is suspended, or you can give up the bike and you can walk, and you just have to get the bike out of impound because the bike up to this point wasn't registered in his name, so it was someone else's bike. So he's like, okay, take the bike and I'll go. So I was like, okay, that makes sense. So we're at the house. It's maybe 3 o'clock in the afternoon. He gets a phone call from his job. So he goes outside, takes the phone call. He's outside for a while. He finally comes back inside. And he has this disheveled look on his face. I'm like, Mike, what's wrong? He's like, man, I just got fired. I was like, wait, what? Say that again? Man, I just got fired. I was like, Mike, how did you get fired on your day off, Wody? What's wrong with you? He was like, I thought my probation period was already up, but this was the last week of my probation, and I called out 4 times in a row, so I got fired. So I was like, oh man, like, I was like, I don't even know what to say. I was like, man, that's horrible. But I mean, I was speechless. I had nothing to say to him. I was like, man, it's gonna be cool. Like, we're gonna get you another job. Like, we're gonna fix it. We're gonna fix it. It's gonna be good. So Nelly comes. Nelly shows up to the house. So we tell him what happens. We break everything down, and he says the same thing. Like, man, that's like no, because at this point, no one wanted to make fun of him. Like, you done got the bike impounded. You ain't got no job. You ain't got no girlfriend. Like, it's bad. So we were like, you know what? Get dressed, man. We're gonna go out. We're gonna have a good time. We're gonna forget about it. Let's just move on. Come on. So we get dressed. We go to TGI Fridays. So we get out there. Now, I started doing a little quick math. It was the end of the month, and as a matter of fact, we were in. Black Ass Mike had convinced Nelly to buy a Lincoln Continental very similar to the one that he had bought. Because when Nelly got out of the service, well, when he got back from basic training, you get paid. So he ended up buying maybe 2003 Lincoln. So we're in the car. We're dapper Dan'd up, going out. So we get there. And like I said, I started doing the quick math. Because Black Ass had told us he hadn't paid Nelly's cousin. He hadn't made his bike payment that month. His bike payment is $350. Now it's the end of the month, which means you owe another $350. So that's $700. His check was only for $950. So in my mind, I'm thinking, you already got the bike impounded. You're already behind the payment, and the first is coming, so you got another payment coming. I would just give dude $700 and just hold on to that too, and just be like, "Hey, can you hold me down and get it out of impound, and then we could work something out." But this is all in my mind. I hadn't said anything out loud up to this point. So we get to the restaurant, and they're ordering drinks. Oh, let me get a double shot of this, and I need 1800 this, and top shelf this, that, and the other. And I was like, Nelly, I know you didn't get paid this week, so who's paying for this? And Black Ass Mike said he was. And it was at this point that I said, yeah, I'm only drinking water. Because I could already see where this was going. What was going to happen was, he's going to have to call Nelly's cousin and say, the bike got impounded, and I got fired from my job. And when he asked him for the money, he's going to say, oh, well, what happened was, Nelly, Tru Sav, and me went out to drink and eat, and we spent all the money. I wanted absolutely no part of that. So I was like, nope, I'm not hungry. I'm not thirsty. All I want is some water. Keep them coming. So they're getting into the swing of things. They're drinking. So then they're, oh man, we could have did this, it could have did this. Why didn't I do this? That story. So I get up and I go outside and I take Serge's jacket with me. So I go outside. I got a jacket on. I'm on the phone, talking, and I come back in. And as I'm walking back in, I noticed there was three older ladies. At the time, we were early 20s. They were probably mid 30s. Were looking at me as I walked in, and so I looked at Nelly and Black Ass, and I was like, "Hey, I think they're checking us out." So I don't know what possessed him to do this. My man, Black Ass Mike, he pushes himself up onto the bar so that like his knee is on the bar, and he points at them and says, "I want to fuck them." Now this was loud enough for the whole restaurant to hear. As soon as he said this, all three of them got up and left. So, I'm like, man, that's not how you do it. But again, it's like whatever. So I come back in. Like after this happens, we couldn't find the keys to the car. So Black Ass, of course, he's drunk as a skunk right now. He's like, oh, he starts yelling at me. Oh, you stupid MF this and MF that, and why did you take the car keys and this? I was like, bro, they're in Serge's jacket. I'm wearing Serge's jacket. That's why you don't have them in your pocket. Oh, I should slap you. This and this and this and this and this. So I know they've been drinking. I'm the sober one, so I'm not even really tripping. So I was like, look, I'm gonna wait for y'all in the car. We might as well just go back to the house. I think the night's over. So he's getting louder and louder, and the wait staff are looking at us because they know we all came together. So they're like, well, what happened? I was like, man, I'm just gonna go outside. He's having the worst day ever. So I'm just gonna go outside. So I go outside. I get in the car. Now this was the turning point. This was the one mistake I wish I had back. I get in the car and I get in the passenger seat. Turn the radio on, start listening to some Looney Coleon. So here they come. So they get in the car, and I'm listening to my favorite Looney Coleon song. And the chorus of the song goes, "Faulty fake ass, salty haters, trying to be my friends. I don't need friends. Fuck y'all friends." What? So he gets in the car, and he hears the song, and he immediately says, oh, is that supposed to mean something? I was like, well, I can start it over for you if you didn't catch it the first time. So Nelly gets in, we start driving, and we're just like, look, we're just going to take him home. So now the whole time we're in the car, he's barking. This and this and this. This is why I'd never really liked you. I thought you were a bitch ever since that day you chased us, this and this and this. So I turned the radio down, and I'm like, well, I gave you every opportunity to speak up. I told you what it was from the beginning, and you chose to be fake about it. I was like, so that means you've been at my house, drinking my alcohol, smoking my weed, talking to the girls that I brought over here? Okay, I got something for you. So, because I'm one of God's chosen people and I'm one of her favorites, she decided to help me out. Now, we were driving down, the street we were driving down, a railroad track crosses it. And it just so happened that this day a train came. And it was the beginning of the train. And the train was going extra slow. So I took this moment to hop out of the car. I was like, well, it's time to go, buddy. This is the part where you got to fight now. So he locks the door and starts jawing through the window. Blap, 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 blap. So I reach into the car, unlock the door, open the door. He tries to slide across to the other side. So I grab him by his leg and pull him out. Now, Nelly wasn't trying too hard to get in between us because I'm pretty sure he wanted to watch me whip his ass too. So he gets in between us. Dude, still John. I push Nelly out of the way and punch him as hard as I can right in his chest. I didn't want to hit him in the face. I didn't want to break anything. I hit him in the chest. He crumples into the car and it just, it immediately starts crying. So I really didn't know what to do at this point because I've never punched anybody and they started crying. So he starts apologizing and, oh, I'm so sorry. Just my life isn't what it's supposed to be. I blew all this money with my baby mom and I was supposed to go to Stanford, but I didn't. And this and this and this and this and this. What drunk people do. So I immediately feel sorry. And it's like, man, it's cool. Like, this is what happens. Like, life happens. Like, it'll be all right. We're just going to take you home and it's going to be good. Like, we're not even going to trip. So, again, I didn't get in the driver's seat. Now, I'm the only one who's not drinking. I don't know why I didn't get in the driver's seat. It's neither here nor there. So, we start driving, and he's boo-hooing in the back, crying about all this stuff. And Nelly he's speeding. He's doing like 60, 70. And it's not a residential, but it's a surface street. So, at one point, we passed these, it's a 5-lane street. 2 lanes of traffic in either direction, passing lane in the middle. So at one point, he tries to gas around this car, and he goes into the center lane, and before he can cut back, he hits the center divider. Now, when I tell you that this car was up on 2 wheels for a second, I'm for real. It was wild, and it was boom, boom. So we hit the center divider. We get to a light. We turn down on a residential street. So now we get out. We go and look, and it looks like we had 2 flat tires on the driver's side. I've never seen it. There was chunks missing out of the rim. Like, that's how bad it was. Like, it wasn't even like, oh, you just got 2 flat tires. Like, even if we had tires to put on there, it wasn't going to happen. So I ended up having to call AAA. I called AAA. They towed the car to the house. I called this girl that I was dating at the time. She came and picked us up, took us back to the house. So we get to the house. We put him to bed. I think did the old girl stay? I don't remember if she stayed or not. But we go to bed because at this point it's probably 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning. So we go to bed, get up in the morning. Now this is Saturday. So Saturday morning we get up. Apologies all around. My bad. I shouldn't have did that. So it was like, bro, it's good. You don't got to apologize. I understand. I done had some nights like that. So everything's all good. So we're trying to get him back in high spirits. So we're like, look, we call Nelly's girlfriend. We're like, look, why don't you come over? We're going to go get some bottles. We're going to get some weed. We're going to do all that. We're going to have a little kickback at the house. We're going to have a little party. It's all good. Life is good. It's the best day ever. Let's rock. So Nelly's girlfriend comes, and Black Hat says he's going to go pick this girl up. So we're like, all right, man, do your thing. Go get her. So he takes Nelly's girlfriend's car, and he goes to pick her up. So he comes back maybe about an hour later. So the doorbell rings. I go answer the door. Hey, what's up? Whoop, my man. I see the girl. She comes in. So she walks in. As she walks in, I close the door. And as I close the door, I feel someone put their hand on the door. And so I look, and it's another guy. I'm like, who are you? He's like, oh, I'm Tiara's boyfriend. It's like, wait a minute. Wait. Who are you? Oh, I'm Tiara's boyfriend. So we look at Black Hat. It's like, wait a minute. You picked up a girl and her boyfriend? And this wasn't in front of the guy. We pulled him to the side, and he's like, yeah, I went to pick her up, and he was standing there with her. And we're like, well, wait a minute. Well, so why did you just drive off? Oh, well, I was already there, and this is this. Like, you know what? Doesn't even matter. It doesn't matter. Let's just have a good time. Whoop. Now, I hadn't met Tiara before. But to her credit, she was hood. Like, she pulled me to the side and was like, look, I didn't know that this is what this was. I didn't know he was trying to call me for some type of romantic or whatever. So, look, I'm going to give you $60 just for the inconvenience of having dude here in your face. So I'm like, bet. It's good. Like, I'm not even tripping. So the night goes on, and another friend of ours showed up by the name of B. Diddy. Now, we're going to have to do a sidebar real quick. Black Ass Mike, B. Diddy, and Tiara all know each other. How do you know each other, they ask? B. Diddy and Tiara used to be boyfriend-girlfriend. Diddy needed a ride. And to be clear, it's not Diddy like P. Diddy. It's Diddy like, did he do that? Just to clarify, you'll see why later. Now, Diddy and Black Ass went to Tierra's house one day. Now, of course, I didn't know this story at the time. I just thought they just happened to know each other. Diddy goes out there. He goes to Tierra's house, and they go in the room. They do what couples do. And they come out of the room, and Black Ass says to her, "You don't look too satisfied." And she responds that she's not. So Black Ass and her go in the room, and they do what couples do. And she comes out and tells Diddy that they're not together, that she's now with Black Ass. So he hit Diddy with the Trey Songz in his face. And so again, I didn't know this. So I'm pretty sure that had to be a very awkward ride home after that. But fast forward back to where we're at. So it's Diddy, Black Ass Mike, and her current boyfriend. So this is awkward for old girl. But again, I don't know this. I'm in the kitchen. We're shooting dice. And we're drinking, we're smoking, we're doing everything. The guy that she brought with her started shooting dice with us. And we're shooting, I think, maybe $1, $2, something like that. This fool not only won the $60 back that she gave me, but he won $40 more. So this fool got to drink, got to smoke, and won some money from us. But I mean, at that point, it was like, we can't beat him up because they were so cool about it. Like, it's not our fault, or it's not his fault that this situation happened. So now Black Ass is mad. So Nelly's girlfriend had left. So they don't have a ride back home because once she saw what it was, she left. So Diddy volunteers and said, "Hey, if you give me $40, $50, I'll give you a ride home." So she said, "All right, bet." So she gives him the money and he dips, never to be seen again. So an hour goes by, 2 hours goes by, he don't come back. So again, because she's super cool, she ends up, finds a ride, calls a cab, whatever. So we dap dude up. "All right, then, man, like, yeah, you were cool with us." And they leave. So we shut it down for the night, clean everything up, and we all go to bed. Now, important note, the way my room was set up at this time, I had 3 beds in my room. I had 2 king-size beds and a queen-size bed all in the same room. So we would all sleep in the same room, but everyone had their own bed. Now, the next morning is Sunday. So it's me, Black Ass, and Nelly. We're all in the room talking about what happened last night, BSing, and I get a phone call, and it's Diddy. So he comes in. He's like, "Yeah, we went to this party after that. We smoked this weed. We did this and this and this. Haha, I got this girl for this money." And I told him, I said, "Look, I'm not upset that you got over on old girl and you took the money, whatever. That's neither here nor there. But my problem with it is that you didn't spend it with us. You're coming back and telling me how you went here and did this and bought this, but you got the money at my house." Like, and so he was like, "Okay, like, I see what you're saying. Like, I won't do that next time." I'm like, "All right, bet, it's all good." Well, Black Ass didn't feel the same way. So he starts berating Diddy. "See, this is why nobody likes you, and you ain't got no friends, and this and this and this, and that's why I stole your girl." And as soon as that came out of his lips, Diddy hopped on the bed with lightning speed and slapped the life out of him. And after he slapped him, he was like, "See, that's why you a bitch, and this and this and this." And once he saw that none of us reacted to him slapping him, he hopped on the bed and slapped him again. And after that second slap and Mike didn't do anything, Diddy hopped on the bed and just started going to work. So as he's punching him, we all hop off the bed. So we're just standing there. Boom, 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 boom. So it was such a one-sided ass whooping that at one point, Black Ass was struggling and Diddy was just sitting on top of his chest like, he's looking at us now, talking, saying like, "Whew, if this was a real fight, I might be in trouble. I'm almost out of breath." Still, at this point, he's not even fighting back. Like, Black Ass is just getting pummeled. So at this point, I had to stop it. Like, if you were going to fight back, I'll let it go, but you're not even going to fight back. So I break it up. I'm like, yeah, you got to bounce, Diddy. Like, come back later. So Black Ass comes up to the front after I have Diddy leave. He's like, oh, man, Tru Sav, you're my only friend. They were just going to watch me get beat up. this and this and this. Man, you're my man. Now, in my mind, I'm thinking, it's not that they're not your friends. It's just that you talk so much. You run your mouth so much. They just wanted to watch you get your ass with one good time. So after that happens, Diddy leaves. We do the rest of our Sunday stuff. And that's the end of the worst day ever for him. For that year. Now, this is at my house in Greenhaven when this happened. So a couple years go by. We're still friends. Like we still hang out. We ended up moving into the Mac house together. It's me, Nelly, Black Ass all live there. So at this point, he still has the motorcycle, but he bought a Mustang. And this was, now, point of reference, this was before there was Tinder. Facebook was just starting to come out, but you still had to have a college email address to get on Facebook. There was no Instagram, there was no Twitter, Snapchat, none of that. So it was like basic dating sites. Tagged. I don't think Plenty of Fish was out then. Maybe Black Planet was out. MySpace was still popping. So those was your only real way to meet people online. So he meets this girl online. We're sitting in the living room now. Mike wasn't the ladies' man. He wasn't a lady killer or nothing like that. So when he came to the house one day, this girl walks in with all kinds of ass. So me and Nelly automatically look like, oh, who was that? So he just tries to walk with her to the room real quick. Hey, guys, all right, and he leaves, and he goes to the back. So this was Sunday night when this happens. Now, since we moved, I had a job. I was a personal assistant for this African guy, and I had the company car. So the next day, I'm coming home from work, and I see her getting into the driver's side of the Mustang, and she's about to drive off. So I parked behind the car. I'm like, what are you doing? She said, oh, well, Black Hat said I could borrow his car. I was like, no. That's not what we're going to do. We're not doing that. Hold on. So I go inside. I'm like, hey, Black Hat, did you say she could have your car? He's like, yeah, man, you know what I'm saying? I'm not tripping. You know, I got the motorcycle, and like, it's all good. I'm like, yo, you just met her last night. Like, you don't even know where she lives at. Nah, it's cool. She's going to bring the car back. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just got it like that. I was like, okay, I'm not your daddy. I don't have nothing to say about it. All right. So Tuesday goes by. Wednesday goes by. Thursday goes by. So finally, Friday comes, and I'm like, hey, yo, Black Ass, where's the Mustang? Shut up. Before I can even get it out, he goes crazy. So I'm like, nah, but for real, like, where's the car at? Oh, she's not answering, and I don't know where she's at. This is like, bro, I was like, I'm not even going to hit you with the I told you so. So a week goes by. 2 weeks goes by. 3 weeks goes by. He still don't have his car back. So every night I come to find out, because he didn't tell me. He told Nelly. Nelly ended up telling me that every night he knew she lived in a certain part of town, Rancho Cordova. So he would go out at nighttime and ride his motorcycle around, riding through apartment complexes looking for his cars. As crazy as that sounds. So finally, I'm coming home from work one day, and I see the Mustang in the driveway. And so I'm shocked, because I was like, I thought that car was never going to come back. So I come inside. It's him. It's Black Ass, Nelly. I want to say Cousin Black. So we're there. We're sitting. So I'm like, yo, what happened? Like, how'd you get the car back? Oh, man. So I was like, come on, tell me what happened. So what he ended up doing was he reported the car stolen. Because, I mean, she wasn't answering. She wasn't going to bring it back. That's the only thing you could do at that point. So he says he reports the car stolen. And I guess what had happened was she was in the car. She with another guy. She was riding around, whatever. And she got stopped in Rancho Cordova. So it's a felony stop now because it's a stolen car. Woot woot. So they pull her and the guy out, guns drawn, all that type of stuff. They get her down to the precinct. She's like, no, I know the guy whose car this is. This and this and this and this and this. Like, this is just a big misunderstanding. So she's like, call him. You can call him right now. So he said the detective called him. It was like, yeah, we got Big Booty Judy here. And she said that you let her borrow the car. Is that true? He said, nope. He said, as soon as he said nope, the detective said, thank you. That's all I need to hear. And before the detective hung up, he said he could hear her screaming in the background, no, this was a mistake. Click. So he got his car back and all was well and the lesson was learned. Well, not necessarily, but this wouldn't be the Adventures of Black Ass Mike if he learned his lesson now, would it? Now, at this point, we're still in the Mac house. This is a couple months later. And Mike was volunteering for a youth football league. He would do all the accounting stuff, all that type of stuff, and because again he was smart, so he always found a job. He could always find some way to get some kind of money. It's what's up. So one of the things with youth sports is there's a lot of single moms. Yeah, I mean single moms need love too, and that seemed to be his forte. Was because he was a good guy. So I mean he chatted up a couple single moms, and the lady that he met, she's pretty good looking, and she had one of her sons played in this little youth sports league. So he would always go over there, and she lived, familiar with SAC, she lived by Burbank High School, maybe by like 24th, 25th, something like that. So I had dropped him off a couple times, or I had gone with him when he'd gone over there, whatever. So one random night, I'm at the Mac house, and he calls me, and he's in hysterics. Man, Tru Sav, where you at? I'm like, man, I'm at the crib. What's up? Oh, man, these guys just jumped me. Man, get your pistol and come over. I was like, wait, okay. Like, I'm on my way right now. So I leave the house. I have my my registered firearm with me. And I had my concealed and carry permit. I meet him by the high school. So, like, I pull up. I'm like, well, where were they at? Like, what happened? Woot, woot, woot. He's like, oh, man, they jumped me. I was like, I know they jumped you, but what happened? Like, so he proceeds to tell me that he met this lady at her house. Now, he's been to her house before, so it wasn't, like, the first time. And he said they go in the back, they do what grown-ups do, and he was going to smoke. Now, the thing with Black Ass is that he likes to front. And what I mean is he likes to flaunt large amounts of money, large amounts of weed in front of people. And if you can't really fight, or you don't intimidate people, people are going to try to take what you got. So now normally in a situation like that, what I would do is I would take whatever weed I was going to smoke, maybe a little bit more inside. Like, I'm not going to take a whole ounce of weed inside because that's just asking for problems. But again, it's neither here nor there. So he goes inside. Again, they do what grown people do. And she had a nephew that was, I guess, 16 or 17 that lived with her or was visiting, whatever the case may be. And he had a friend with him. So apparently what happened was he went to leave, and when he left, they were outside waiting for him. Lying in wait. So he walks outside, walks to the car. Next thing you know, bow, he gets punched. So they're fighting. I guess in the struggle, they went in his pockets, took what he got, and they ran off. So as he's telling me the story, I'm dying. I'm on the ground laughing. And so I was like, wait a minute. So are you telling me you got did like Jody and Baby Boy? Shut up. It's not funny. I was like, bro, so you want me to shoot a 16-year-old? Because, nah. We just got to go home. You just got to take this loss. Like, this, what? nah, man, nah, come on, man, we're about to go shoot the niggas. This is I was like, nah, bro, we're just gonna take this L and we're gonna go back to the house, man. You're tripping. so, so when I didn't call him Black Ass Mike, I used to call him Jody. Anytime he wanted to be tough. Now, this last one. This is the last story I'll give you, and then we'll wrap up the Adventures of Black Ass Mike. Now, after all this happened, this maybe some years go by, 3 or 4 years go by. We moved out of the Mac house. Everybody's living on their own. He had sold the Mustang, sold the bike, and he had ended up buying a Lexus, like a 2005, 2006 Lexus, low miles, nice little rims on it, nice little stereo in it, TVs in the headrest. It was nice. It was what was it? This was maybe 2010, and it was a 2004. So I mean, it was a nice car, and he still had a Ford Taurus, but he owned both of these cars outright. So he was doing his thing. Now again, the people that we hung out with were they weren't upstanding citizens, we'll say. They didn't pay their taxes. So they're driving in Audis and brand new Mercedes and Beamers and all that type of stuff. So I had my raggedy ass Mazda that I've had for, to that point, 10 years. And something in Black Ass just wouldn't let him have his old Lexus. Like, he just had to keep up with the Joneses. So he decided he was going to trade in this Lexus for a CLK 250. It might have been like a 2008, 2007 at that time. So a couple years old. Nice car, beautiful car. But the problem was, now he had a car payment. And his car payment was like $600 a month. Something ridiculous. But again, I'm not here to judge, whatever. If that's how you want to live your life, live your life. So one day he hooked up with this Indian cat that we all knew. And they decided that they were going to try to pull a swiper scam. Now, for those of you who don't know, a swiper scam is a credit card fraud. It's where you fish somebody's information and you put it onto a credit card with your name on it. So you have their account information, but it's on a credit card with your name on it. That was a little too high tech for me. That was a little too cloak and dagger. But now they went to the True Religion store in the mall. Now I told you, Black Ass is built like Squidward. So they always have his size on display. But this particular day, at the True Religion store, they said they didn't have his size. So they went to the back. They're like, oh, just wait right here, and we'll be right back. So he sat there like a dummy. Mall security comes, tackles him. They arrest him. Woot, woot, woot. He goes to jail. Now, the problem with this is the guy that he was with still had his card. So dude who had his card decided he was going to go to the Bay Area. So the whole time that Black Ass is in jail, dude is in Oakland driving around with his car. I know. It didn't make sense to me either. So Black Ass finally gets out. He gets a hold of dude, tells dude to bring him back the car or whatnot. So he brings him back the car. Now, mind you, up to this point, Black Ass has never been to jail before. Never been to jail, never been arrested. No one in his family has been arrested. And I went to visit him, and I was kind of like, hey, yo, like, is this the wake-up call you finally needed? Like, look at you. Like, why are you even in this situation? All because you just don't want to get a job and be a regular person? Like, come on, bro. Like, you're way too smart for this. So he finally gets the car back. Wooty wooty whoop. And his parents won't let him park the Mercedes at their house. Not in the garage, not in front of the house. They make him park the car down the street. Because to them, it represents everything that just happened. Meaning, this car is a representation of you getting arrested and you making all these bad choices, so we don't even want to look at it. Well, because of that fact, the car ended up getting repoed because it wasn't in front of his house, it wasn't in the garage, and he wasn't making his payments. So now, instead of having two cars that you own outright, you have no car, because the car that you had just got repoed. I know, it don't make no sense. It don't make sense to me right now. But I will say that after this incident, Black Ass did get it together. He got a regular job, got back in his parents' good graces, and he started to turn it around. So it goes to show your life isn't defined by bad days. Granted, a lot of these bad days were stretched out over a long period of time, but he finally realized that he was making bad choices and that he just needed to be him. And he's still kicking it. Still has a good relationship with his the mother of his child, his daughter. He's working, staying out of trouble. So I mean, I tell these stories because they're cautionary tales, and it is kind of funny to laugh every time to time. But I mean, I still talk to my man right now. He's doing better than he was now, or than he was then, I should say. So yeah, it's already an hour. Look at that. Look how time flies when you're having fun. Well, if you have any, I guess we'll wrap it up. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, bestdayeverpodcast@gmail.com. I actually, you know what? I think I have a picture of Black Ass Mike. I will post it up today. Tru Sav Comedy at Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Don't forget, you can't get yesterday back. You might not get tomorrow. So that makes today the best day ever. All right, y'all. I'm holla.